Hello everybody and welcome back to the Beanbag. Today I wanted to show a few random background figure characters that I have made over the years. All of them wearing the Generations Deep Space Nine style uniforms, that they're all kit bashes and such. And we'll start with this guy right here. This is an engineering officer I made. It primarily uses the Voyager style body, and it's got the head of one of the villain characters from Sequest, and I added a little bit of gray to the hair to sort of differentiate him a little bit. And I think it actually ends up making him look a lot like Lon Suter from Star Trek Voyager. So he's essentially my stand-in figure for that. If you can kind of see a little bit better there. Next is another kit bash. This is actually, I took, it's the Doctor body from Voyager, and the Tom Paris mutated from Threshold. It's his head and hands, and I even took and cut the feet off and re-glued them onto here, and there you can see the face a little closer up. And I did do a slight repaint on the head so that it wouldn't look quite the same. It's a little more golden color than the greenish color from the episode. So yep, that's another one. And then this is actually just literally a Cisco that I repainted the shoulders to be the science teal color, and I gave him a beard. And it's funny because doing a full thick beard like that actually makes him look kind of different. I did change the skin tone color just a little bit as well to help differentiate him. But yeah, I wanted a background science figure, and so I did that. Of course, I had also made, this is another one. I took the Chief OBrien body, repainted the shoulders to be the blue, the science blue, and then this is the Lucas Wallencheck head from Sequest. It's a pretty simple head switch. And speaking of Chief OBrien's, this is one of the more elaborate ones that I did. This is it's again, it's just a simple Chief OBrien. I didn't even change the uniform on this one, but I changed his head, and of course I painted his hands to be an Andorian. And I did it sort of, it's more in the style of the way that they looked on Enterprise, with the antenna towards the front of the head, with the Widow's Peak action kind of going on. If it'll come into focus. And so it involved me, I actually had to drill holes into his head, and I put little wires in there and coated them with silicone and paint. So they actually are a little bit movable. You can kind of move them around a little bit. But yeah, and I sculpted up the forehead as well, and then painted them. Now here is one of the Bolian officers that I did. The way that I do these are actually really simple. You basically take whichever figure you want to use and completely shave their head, and then you make the little ridge along the head, and then you give them the paint job. Of course, you have to do their hands as well. And yeah, I used a Cisco for this, just to keep, so I could have another background command officer. Here is a Benzite character. I know that there was actually, and I've seen a few people do this, and it's really all it is you take the hands and the head from the Mordock figure, and you switch them. In this case, is a Tom Paris body. But I've also seen people just put that on a Captain Janeway body, because and I cannot remember her name. It was a lieutenant, I believe, that was in the 3rd or 4th season of Deep Space Nine, which is when we saw that they apparently no longer needed the large breathing apparatus on their chest. A lot of people have wondered if that was just a coincidence, a mistake that was made, or if they had actually were using some other kind of breathing apparatus at that point. But yeah, so it's a male version of that figure that I made. This one, it's a combination of a few parts. It's the Chief OBrien body, but I did switch the arms out. I believe this was a Geordi. And the head, it's actually General Kang from Star Trek 6. I left his eye patch in place, but I did shave off his ridges. I got rid of the funky little ponytail on the back, so that he's just a bald guy. Oh, I also took off his mustache. Just a bald guy with an eye patch, and I sort of tried to make the eye patch look a little technical, like it might have something going on sensors wise, so that he can use it since he has apparently lost his eye. And let's see. Then this is another Bolian I made. This is using a Data, which of course is funny because as I pointed out in one of the previous videos, the Data Generations figure the entire body was a reuse of the Cisco figure with a head swap. So yeah, this is a Bolian using Data. Again, it's just I made the little head ridge and painted it. And you might have noticed that on this one, if I can grab where I did the other one, I did do a slight color variation, so that the one has his ridges, his hair, his skin has got a little bit more of a green, and the other one's got more of a blue, because I wanted to show that there was like a variation in them, because they try and do that on the show as well as show variations on them. This is another head swap. It's using a Dax body. I repainted the shoulders to be engineering operations yellow. And then this is the head of Commander Hitchcock from Sequest, which she was actually the chief engineer on there. And I didn't really do anything special with her. I just left the head as it was. But I know a lot of people have used her head for doing other customs as well. It's one of the ones that's a little harder to get a hold of, so you have to kind of do it as you get it. So yeah, and then the very last one is actually kind of a special one to me, because this is literally the very first custom figure I ever did about 20 some odd years ago. I took a Tuvok, because I had a couple of Tuvoks. I had a spare Tuvok, and I was like, I wanted to give him the Spock hairline. You know, Tuvok's hair, came up here, and I was like, I want to have a Vulcan with more of the Spock hairline. And then later on, I realized that it looks a lot like Ensign Vorik, I believe it was, from Voyager. And so at that point, I then repainted the skin to be a little bit lighter, and altered the hair, because I had painted the hair black back in the day, and so I then painted it brown to look more like him. And so yeah, this one, like I said, kind of special because it is. I did that customizing of doing the hair, and let me get it closer so you can see. You kind of see it. It's not perfect. I could always probably go in and sand it and get it a little more smooth in. But, it's because of the fact that this was the first custom I ever did back when I was a teenager in the late 90s. So, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.